welcome to another video. Thank you so much for being here. I thought this week I'd mostly talk about books, the books I've been reading, what I've been enjoying, the books that I'd like to read before the end of the year. So kind of like a reading vlog. December tends to be the month that I just enjoy reading so much, and I tend to be very particular about the books that I choose. So the books I've been reading are definitely not Christmassy, but they are books that I've been really inspired by, and I think that there are many topics that I have been finding very interesting. And one thing that I've been really enjoying lately is treating reading as a research project, especially when I'm in a reading slump or just feeling a little bit disenchanted with the world, which I think tend to go hand in hand for me anyway. When I'm not reading, there's a certain emptiness in my life and like things don't feel exciting or magical. But when I treat reading as a research project, when I pay attention to the things that are really interesting to me and then kind of look for resources on those topics, it enlivens my reading and it makes the experience of reading richer. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I do definitely want to pick up some Christmassy warming books, especially because this is the first time in I want to say over 15 years that I'll be spending Christmas in a colder climate. I think the last time I spent Christmas in a cold climate was when I was 14. And I'm 32 now. So I definitely want to foster more of that Christmassy, cozy feeling. So I will look into that and see what I can find. So yeah, I'm gonna go pick a cafe to read from, take my journal, make some notes, and yeah, talk about the books I've been reading throughout the video. I've been reading a lot of byung-chul lately, and it's like when your family buys a blue car and then all you see are blue cars on the road. Everything I've been reading or consuming lately has in some way referenced his work, and the more I kind of follow this trail, the more ideas surface, the more connections I make, the more fun I have reading. One thing I've loved doing is keeping a reference list. So anytime I finish a book, particularly nonfiction, I'll look at the back and see the list of references, and then whatever kind of sparks my interest or whatever feels relevant, I kind of make a note of it to revisit later. The book kind of then becomes part of an ecosystem rather than existing on its own. And of course, no book exists on its own. It's all building upon pre-existing knowledge. But I guess it's more so about becoming more of an active participant and being involved in the process of creating this web and this network and this ecosystem. And it just makes for a more interesting experience, a more whole experience as well, and I think it keeps me wanting to read more. I will say I think I need a better system for this reference list to kind of, rather than it just being a numbered list, I think I need to build kind of a web of themes with different references, but that'll be for another day. I've been sitting all day reading, which has been very lovely, but I need to move my legs and I need to go for a run. So that's what I'm doing now, and I just wanted to give a big thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this section of the video. They are the headphones that I've been wearing on my runs, whilst walking, whilst taking the train, whilst exploring the busy streets of Japan. What I really love about these headphones is that they sit just outside your ear canal, so you get really clear sound, but you can actually hear what's happening around you too, which is something I've become more conscious of as a runner, but also as a pedestrian in busy streets where there's motorcycles and cars and bikes and people, and sometimes they're all coming at you. And I want to be safe, I want to stay alive, I want to keep on running, which means I have to be aware of my surroundings. They're also really light, and the ear hook part kind of rotates so they actually stay in and don't fall out. Truly, I barely feel them in my ears when I'm running or walking, which is so very nice. But if for some reason you order some and you don't really like them, that's all good, because they have a 30-day guarantee. Raycon audio products are up to 20% off this holiday season. All you have to do is click the link in the description box below or go to buyraycon.com/NinaOpen to save on Raycon audio products site-wide. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. I've just come back home. I put pajamas immediately because the sun goes down at like 4:47 in the afternoon, which is still ludicrous to me, and I need to get used to it. Because as soon as it gets dark, I'm like, it's night mode, pajamas, dinner's coming up soon, bedtime is coming up soon, and it's like it's still the very early evening. But yeah, it was nice sitting at a cafe. It was quite hard to find a cafe that wasn't packed. It seems like 3 p.m. is a really popular time. Was there for a little while, was practicing some Japanese, some hiragana reading, which I'm actually very much enjoying. And yeah, now I've been reading The Disappearance of Rituals by byung-chul. So I've been taking notes like it's nobody's business. I've been really enjoying reading what he has to say. And yeah, there's so much to think about. And I think a lot of what he says, at least to me, feels very spot on. So I've been reading that. And yeah, I want to do some journaling, maybe attempt the knitting. I bought some needles and some yarn, and I went too small, too thin for my level. So I've been really struggling with this little scarf that I want to make because the needles are just so thin and I can't see what I'm doing with the yarn. So that's a little bit of a problem, but that's okay. I need to learn to get less frustrated with myself when I'm not good at something right from the beginning, because I'm usually not good at many things right from the beginning, and I really need to spend time with those things in order to progress. So yeah, that's what I have to report. I'm very confident that I have found the perfect book for me for December, my Christmas read. For me, a Christmas read does not have to happen in December. It doesn't have to involve Christmas or snow or anything like that. For me, it mostly has to be long. Usually it's part of a series, but not necessarily. And it has to be some sort of family saga for me. That for me is a perfect December read, and I think I found it. It's The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. I downloaded it on my e-reader and I read like the first 40 pages and I can't get enough. It's great. It's exactly what I want. It's funny, it's charming, it's involving, first of all, a female friendship, which I always love. I always love a book that centers around a female friendship, especially through those formative years. And then it's about two families. And more than that, I love Irish authors and I love books that take place in Ireland, so I'm very ecstatic about it. And I've heard great reviews. I'd love to know what you're reading in December. Are you particular about what you choose, or do you just pick up a book and whatever's there you'll read? I'd love to know. We are in Kyoto and we're going for a walk, and it is spectacular here. It's so beautiful. It is also very cold.
Wow. Cheers. Where'd you go? There it is. With oat milk.
Ever since I saw the personal curriculum online, I've been wondering if I should make one for myself. And the only reason I've thought about it for so long is that I have raging ADHD and I know myself. I know that I'll have the best time creating this curriculum. I'll spend hours gathering all the resources, coming up with research questions, and just having a grand old time. And then that will be enough to make my brain think that I've done the work and I never have to revisit it again. It's enough, the right amount of dopamine to never, never complete it. However, I think that because I've thought about it for so long, I think I landed on something that is actually very interesting to me and something that I've been wanting to approach with more structure. I'm studying at uni. I'm doing a master's in therapy counseling, and it's currently on pause because I'm traveling. But I've been very dissatisfied with my education, and in order to continue doing this master's program with more direction, I suppose, or feeling just more kind of confident in my decision, I think that I need to gather my own resources and learn about the things that I am not learning at university, which is a goddamn shame because I'm paying for it myself. And it is devastating that I'm doing this master's program. I'm using up all of my savings and more, and I'm still not receiving the education that I desire. Anyway, this is all to say that I've created for myself a winter curriculum. I'm not going to go super in depth with the content, but I might just talk about how I ended up creating it. So I decided to create 2 courses for myself. One of them is the one that has a direct link with university and what I'm studying, and then the other one was more of a feel-good, kind of an interest of mine, given that I'm finding myself in Japan and whatnot. But the things that I thought were very important for myself for creating this curriculum was having some research questions that I could answer. And of course, as I start reading more and more on the topic, more questions will arise, but these are kind of the questions that I'm posing. And then I try to gather some resources that, one, might answer that question, 2 just seemed interesting to me, or 3 had been on my radar for a while. So my first course is The Mental Health Crisis is a Political One. So I have 2 questions. How is the current mental health crisis connected to capitalism, racism, and other social issues? And number 2, how might we transform the ways we think about mental health diagnosis and treatment? What I'm finding throughout uni is that we kind of talk about mental health almost like it's in a vacuum. There is very little discourse around politics, very little discourse around systemic issues, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. So then I gathered resources. I have a few books. I have too many books, but I'm very okay and very aware that I am in no way, shape, or form going to get through this amount of books in the next 3 to 4 months. So these are the books that I will be reading. Of course, I have my man, Byung-chul on there. But yeah, those are the books that I'll be reading. But hopefully this culminates in a video essay, or maybe just an essay for myself. And then every time I read a book, I will write out a lengthy review and then make notes and then transfer those notes into my system where I keep all my notes. And then, of course, at the next course, I needed something that was a little bit more warming. And I just wanted to watch many Ghibli movies. So that's what I decided. So the course is Animation as Art and Philosophy. And I have many different questions. So I made a list of movies and I divided them by decade. And then I will be writing notes on them. And this will also culminate in a personal essay. One of the things that I wanted to do more this year was watch films and analyze them, or rather than analyze them, kind of pay more attention to the things that I'm enjoying and not enjoying about them, then gather the language to describe that, and then learn more about different directors, different film styles, different movie genres. I've always loved watching films, but I'd love to be able to speak about them in a more eloquent way. So this feeds into that, which is wonderful. So yeah, that is my winter curriculum.